If you've ever wondered what the heck you actually said at the end of that party,
or wanted a do-over button for those cringe-worthy encounters,
then you've experienced what we call the joy of awkwardness.
I'm Mendy.
And I'm Bree.
And we're here to celebrate the awkward.
Embrace the awkward.
And remind you of one important thing.
You may be awkward,
but you're definitely not alone.
Well, that was awkward.
Hey, listeners. Bree isn't here today because she left her water bottle at the library on Cape Cod. And of course, she had to go all the way back to get it because it's her favorite. Not her favorite water bottle, her favorite library. You know how she is. But I'm here, and I'm wondering if any of you are true crime fans like me. Bree, could you cue up some noir detective music here, please? Look, I don't like gore. I can't even handle TV show scenes where the main character gets stitches. I always dunk my head inside my shirt, plug my ears, and yell, "No one needs to see this. This does not further the plot. Fast forward, Gabe, just fast forward." I can't see anyone's guts. If anything belongs inside of you, I absolutely cannot see it come out of you. So no, it's not the gory details of crimes I love. It's the mystery. Oh my God, I love a goddamn mystery. I love a puzzle, a problem to be solved. That's why I love quantum physics and New York Times puzzles, especially the weird British ones where the answer is like clam plus innuendo equals divorce. Give me mystery. I just need something to stay one frickin' step ahead of me. Fun fact, I actually went to private detective school when I was in my 20s. I got licensed and everything, but I never actually practiced. I had kind of a moral awakening. Like doing that sort of gig privately means you're working for whoever hires you. And I thought, what if it was a controlling husband being a total D-bag to his wife? Just privacy issues galore. So I never followed through with the apprenticeship part. But when my sons were teens, I loved finding casual ways to whip out my wallet with my expired PI license in it when their friends were around because hashtag teen boys. But I have been, and always will be, an immature detective. I mean, aren't we all, ladies? See, I'm nosy as hell. I don't watch much reality TV, and not because I'm sophisticated or above it. Absolutely not. And not because nothing will ever top Nene Leakes on Real Housewives of Atlanta. I love you, Nene. I just take my reality straight, no filter, and locally sourced. I listen to the scanner. I remember sitting around my great-aunt's kitchen table playing canasta with her and my grandma and going lone wolf, that's a canasta thing, at age 10 was thrilling. Surviving the constant cloud of cigarette smoke was like verging on heroic, but the real drama was the scanner in the background, feeding us updates on what all the neighbors were up to. And Grandma and Aunt Mary's commentary was flippin' priceless. But now, I've got an app for it. And I still keep tabs on a handful of folks on ye old Facebook. I take screenshots. I send them to my friends. You know how we all say, "Oh, I'm not on Facebook much." And then you're like, "Yeah, me neither." Except I am. I'm not posting. I'm just watching. If you've ever posted something way too raw and regrettable way too late at night, then deleted it first thing in the morning, I clocked it, honey. I'm sorry. I can't help myself. I am the watcher. But this compulsion for observation has actually come in handy. I've actually recovered actual stolen goods 3 times in my life. Our car was stolen many years ago, and the next morning, I was on the way home from taking my oldest son to preschool with my 1-year-old in his car seat in the back of our friend's car they'd loaned us. And I just had this kind of breakdown / universe intervention We were young, we were poor, we needed our car. And this wave of emotion came over me, something like determination or certainty, definitely anger. And I proclaimed out loud, I'm going to find our freaking car. I took a different exit off the interstate that I usually do, just following some woo or instinctual GPS. I took a left and a couple of rights, and I found myself in a neighborhood I'd never been to before. I drove to the cul-de-sac at the end of a street, and there was our car. I called my husband. I found our flipping car. I called the cops. Hi, this is Mendy St. Hours with the stolen car. I found it outside of 335. I'm gonna need the boys to meet me over here. And I turned back to baby Leander. Deanders, we found a car! Yay! Another time, and this was during COVID, there was a string of car break-ins in our neighborhood. My car and most of my neighbors' cars had been rifled through. My next door neighbor, however, had his recently passed father's fishing equipment and fishing vest stolen from his truck. And he was devastated, not because he also loves to fish, but these were like talismans from his dad. So I went out and I walked Nana, our dog, and on the way home, I just had a little prickly feeling as we passed a storm drain on our street, because that storm drain seemed like a hell of a good place to pitch evidence. I laid down on my belly and peered down, and sure enough, there was Daddy's fishing vest. I called my neighbor, we heaved the manhole cover off, and he legit used a fishing pole to fish out his dad's gear. But I was sick of my car getting ransacked, but also empathized with the culprits. Times were especially tough during COVID, and even though I was renting a modest house in a modest neighborhood to someone with even less than me, I'm sure I looked like I had a whole hell of a lot more and might deserve a little thievery. So I wanted to deter the thieves because this was super annoying, but not hurt them. So, like, I thought of setting a mouse trap in the glove box, but that could break someone's fingers. Then I thought of a dildo rigged to swing down and smack the thieves right square in the forehead when they open the door. A booby trap, but instead, a ding-dong trap. My sons were getting older, though, so they were getting taller, and they could ride in the front seat now, and they wouldn't appreciate riding everywhere with a hitched-up, disembodied ding-dong gently bobbing against their foreheads. And it wouldn't help our family's reputation at all when I rolled up at the middle and high schools with a dong tethered to the interior roof of our car, and besides, the engineering aspect was way beyond me. But being a dick myself, both in the sense of detective and a nosy Facebook watching asshole, I knew there was something to this dick thing. Then I got it. I wanted to discourage the thieves but not hurt them. The ding-a-ling didn't have to hit them in the forehead. It just needed to be in the car. Now, is a regular old dildo scary enough to deter a thief? No way. Even thieves know a gal's got to do what a gal's got to do. But there's all kinds of deterrent dicks. And I knew exactly what to do. I'd appointed myself already as the neighborhood watch captain, so I went around to check to see if any of my neighbors would also like to be part of my ingenious thief deterrent plan. I took orders. Kareen wanted a hand. Actually, that was a double order because Porter, he wanted a hand too. Now, Jodi, she's from Louisiana, so of course she wanted a foot. Why a foot? Look, there's a code to Bayou Justice that only Jodi understands, and I certainly ain't going asking. And of course, I was sure that I needed a dick. Then I went on a horror movie prop supply website and ordered realistic severed body parts for my neighborhood. So the next time our cars got broken into, the thief would come across a scene of such gore and horror that they'd leave well enough alone, thinking we were obviously homicidal sociopaths. When the package came and I'd made my neighborhood deliveries, I quite proudly shut my realistic, bloody, rotting ding-a-ling into my glove box. And guess what? It even came with free testicles. Flash forward 2 years later, we are moving into a new house, and we have our first overnight at the new place. So sweet. But I walk out the next morning, and my car is gone. Yes, it has been stolen again. I call the cops, I go through the routine, I go on Facebook and Nextdoor to put a picture of it out there in the world in case anyone sees it. And like the other time my other car got stolen, like 17 years earlier, I was like, I'm gonna go find my car. Because we still couldn't afford to just lose a car. I grabbed my son's car keys and headed out into the world. Again, using some kind of spiritually desperate GPS, driving around randomly. And I shit you not, about 30 minutes later, I found her. I called Gabe. I found the flipping car. I called the cops. Hi, this is Mindy St. Hours with the stolen car. I found it outside of 124 Street. I'm going to need the boys to meet me over here. There was no baby Leander in the back seat this time, but I did text teenage Leander. Car got stolen last night. Sad face emoji. Just found it. Strong arm emoji. So teenage Leander would see it when he woke up and A, be impressed, and B, be reminded not to do any shenanigans because Mama's a low-key detective. He'd seen the license, right? So the officers arrive. We go through the routine. They are sufficiently impressed. We talk about our favorite true crime podcasts. Then I step away to update Facebook and to let everyone know I found the truck and to 100% show off. The officers are fingerprinting, etc., when they call me over. Ma'am. Yeah? Could you come over here for a moment? We need to see if this is yours. I saunter over, still quite proud of myself, and the officer explains, we don't think this is yours, but we need to double check to see if we should bag it as evidence. And they have a look on their face like they've found something very troubling, something aberrant. And the other officer, who is bent down in the car, slowly stands up straight and turns to me, his arm extended all the way out to keep the disgusting object as far from his nostrils as possible, his purpley-derply latex-sheathed fingers pinching my car penis? No. That, my friends, is a red herring. Come on, my mystery friends know there has to be a twist. The car penis at that time was on another assignment. As we were moving into a new spot, and I finally had the opportunity to go with my ever-present motive ed means, I thought it would be super cool to put it in the top drawer of Gabe's office desk and have him chance upon it. No, they hadn't found my car penis. I know exactly where my car penis is at all times. Do you know where your car penis is? It's funny, actually, because just days before, I'd texted Bree and Denise lamenting about my car underwear. If you're a diehard fan of this podcast, you already know that I think underwear are a waste of time and resources, a redundancy, if you will. I would take it so far as to say that underwear actually hurt my self-esteem because the front part always fits, but the back part can't handle this tail. So they cut into my hams, reminding me with every step that I have stubborn saddlebags. But I always had a pair in my gym bag in case I was wearing super short shorts at the gym, so my twonk wouldn't fall out. But I would inevitably need something else from my gym bag, like extra reading glasses or my earbuds. So in the car, I'd go rooting around in there with one hand, and the absolutely inessential, stupid underwear would fall out of the bag and bob around my floorboard for days or even weeks. And yes, that's what they had found. My car underwear. You might be like, big deal. But these pair were very special indeed. See, a month or two before, I'd splashed a shit ton of my morning coffee into my gear shift and loose change area, the console. And I was at a stoplight, so I frantically swift my hand around the car for a non-essential cloth to wipe it up, and of course I come across my car underwear on the floorboard of the back. So I soaked up the mess, I threw the drawers over my shoulder into the back seat, and just carried on to work. Here we are, 2 months later, and an officer of the law is holding up what at one point was a pair of women's cotton jockeys, but they've obviously seen some shit. Metaphorically and literally. They'd been wet right? And then dried in a clump. So they were contorted and had re-hardened in whatever shape I'd left them in on the floorboard of my car. And the once white cloth was now stained with puddles of brown, baked in by many afternoons in the hot back floorboard of the car. And I'm not trying to be gross, but the math is clear. Brown plus underwear equals shart. Except these drawers were so thoroughly brown stained that whatever had happened to its wearer, its underwearer, was more than just a turd putting on the brakes. Whatever had happened to this human had been a dysentery level event. The officer not holding the drawers was like, just checking. These aren't yours, right? And because I don't want these sent off to the lab for DNA testing that would obviously come back as my own, and well, because it's the unfortunate goddamn truth, I had to admit, no, they're mine. But that's not diarrhea.
Well, that was awkward.
Let me explain. And I explained. And whatever street cred I'd earned with the 5-0 for finding my own stolen car totally evaporated in that moment. In that moment of claiming ownership to the stupid underwear I didn't even want to own. It would have actually been better if my car penis had been in there. That would have launched me into a tale of how it had come to be in my glove box, opening the door to the whole fishing vest mystery. Hell, I bet I could have even found a way to weave in the story of how this wasn't the first time I'd found a stolen car, and how I was a trained but not practicing PI. I would have totally woven that in. Just like I've done with you, listener. This is that final meta twist we mystery lovers love, the one that comes at the very, very end. Ha ha! She was just showing off all along. But I don't know that the cops bought my story. I'm pretty sure they just assumed I'd shitted my panties and didn't want to admit it, and certainly didn't want them sent off to the lab. And that's my story, friends. We'll be back next week with one of your stories. Have you ever thought you were super duper cool and then had the world come crashing down around you? We want to hear about it. Send it to us. And until then, I'll see you on Facebook.
This has been an Awkward Sage production.